Let's get cozy.
Let's get cozy.
Welcome back.
Welcome back to That Gym Couple podcast.
Marbella editions.
Marbella edition.
Hosted by.
Oh yeah. I forgot to say that. You say that.
Hosted by. Just say your name.
Lucy.
And Cal.
You normally say Lucy.
I know,
and Cal.
but we had to throw in the Marbella editions bit, so it's thrown it all out of whack.
Oh, okay.
This is actually the second time we've had to record this
Guys,
bit.
I hate Callum.
Yeah, I deleted the whole first section of the...
We were like vibing, we were like, just got back from the gym, we were on a bit of a high. Now I am exhausted and we're having to re-record the first bit because Callum deleted it.
So you'll see there'll be a little bit of a lighting change as the sun had gone down since we filmed.
The sun was shining in.
First bit.
Yeah. But anyway, all we were really talking about was Marbella.
Where we are, why we're here, what we're doing.
Where we come from. Wait, what's it? Who we are. I've gone delusional.
So we are in Marbella, in Spain, and we
Living
are here
our best lives.
because
we couldn't deal with the winter in the UK anymore.
we just didn't want to work in the UK. Didn't want to be there.
Do you know what? We'd actually had enough. We thought, I'm not doing it anymore. It's pouring with rain. It's dark. It's cold. I've had enough.
Do you remember? So we were driving to the airport Sunday morning, early Sunday morning.
Died.
It was horrendous, foggy, raining.
The taxi driver literally couldn't see the road. He was like, hold on, guys. He was driving so carefully. It was horrific.
It was so bad. And I remember just thinking, I just can't wait to get into the sun.
But it's always best when you leave a country and it's like disgusting. And then we landed in Marbella, in Malaga at like 10 a.m. Bright blue sky, 19 degrees.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Heaven. It's February. Like, my brain is so confused. It genuinely feels like July or August right now.
I've never had like a little winter escape like this before.
Neither
in
have
life,
I.
and I think it's going to be a regular.
Oh, I'm doing it every year. To be honest, I'm surprised we didn't do it from January onwards.
I like how we've done it though, because we did like a little sort of winter holiday in Copenhagen, sort of late November.
Yeah. But that's because you're still in like a Christmas mood.
Exactly.
Then.
It's like the build up to the festivities, and that was quite nice. So it's nice to do that, and then obviously this time of year to go and I think it's get a bit of warmth.
And I'm shocked at the fact that we're in Europe. Like, we haven't had to go as far as Bali or Dubai to get nice weather this time of year. It's honestly beautiful here. Like, it's 18, 19 degrees, but warm 19 degrees. Like, I was literally like burning out on the balcony.
Yeah,
it
feels really warm.
It feels so warm. Obviously, it's a little bit chilly in the mornings and the evenings, but that's fine. And it's just, it's such a relief to just wake up in the morning and it's blue sky. It makes you want to jump out of bed and excited to start the day.
You've been getting up before me, which you never do.
Unheard of. Also, by the way, just before we go into that, just want to say the audio is going to sound a bit funny.
Yeah.
Because we only had a certain amount of luggage allowance and we couldn't fit the mics in. So we've just got these little handheld ones. So it's not going to be the best audio in the world. So
it was a last minute decision. They were just left.
We literally had the mics, then we were like, they're going to take us over the limit, so we took them out. But we didn't want to miss a podcast day, so that's why we're still doing it regardless. But yeah, you're right. I have been like a spring chicken.
Yeah.
What did you say earlier?
I said you were solar charged.
Yeah. Like you said, I've got like solar panels on my head because when I'm in the sunshine, you just
get so much more energy.
Powered up.
Yeah, you do. You just have like this little like.
That's why I need to live in somewhere. I need to live in a nice country, or I need to come back here next year, January through to March, I reckon.
Oh, that's nice.
Although,
and then where are we going in March?
Expensive. Well, we'll get back home for my birthday in March.
Okay.
But also we're staying in an Airbnb, so it's not as if we're in a hotel where we have to eat out every meal. It feels like a home from home.
Yeah, like there's a few things that we're missing, like an air fryer would be lovely.
We've had to learn how to cook again.
I've forgotten how to use a frying pan, to be honest.
Oh, come on.
Nespresso, coffee.
You are so annoying.
It's just the little creature comforts though, isn't it? But I'm not saying that I'm not enjoying it at all. Like this, it's so good to be here.
And like we're still in a really nice routine. We've got the Airbnb, so we're cooking most our meals from home. Obviously on the weekend we might go out for a couple of meals, got a bit of downtime, but for the most part, we are not here on holiday, we are here to work. So our routine's been, well, mine in particular has been very similar to at home. So, we wake up, we have a coffee, start work, we're both kind of working 8:30, 9 o'clock till about 12, 1.
Yeah.
And then we head to the gym, we're filming in the gym, getting content. Then we go find a nice cafe, get a coffee,
edit the content,
do a bit more work, finish off work for the evening, and then back home up the mountains.
Oh God, no one told us that it's like up.
Kilimanjaro. Wait.
Kilimanjaro. We are like at the top of a hill though. Like where the building is, where our
is the summit.
Airbnb is, like there's a curved road that goes round and it meets at the top where our building is and then goes down either side. There's
our shins
are
pure agony.
But it's not just like, you'd expect it to just be like a hillside cliff where it just constantly goes up and up and up, or up, levels off, up, levels off. It's not. It's like up, down, further down,
sense.
up. And then it's just like there's a really, really steep hill.
Yeah.
And then you get to the top of that and you're like, oh my God, I'm finally up that. And then it's like a gradual hill going up from there. And you're like, more hill, but like gradually for about 500 meters.
Yeah, and I wore sliders on our first day, not knowing all of this.
Yeah.
And honestly, I'm just in agony. But it's fine. It's just like 15-minute walk feels a lot harder because it's so steep.
This is why everyone here is so fit and healthy. Like they all look so good.
Yeah, that was the one thing that we were slightly worried about because we probably do have a bit of imposter. Me and you're quite confident.
Yeah.
But I do think quietly we're both a little bit insecure and we do have a little bit of imposter syndrome. So when we first arrived on Sunday, granted, like we were grubby as hell. Like we had just come off a flight. We were up at 3 a.m. that morning. We were in trackies. I had no makeup on, we probably stank, like the classic, you've been travelling all morning type of situation. Also, Callum was like fuming because he was lugging this 20-kilogram suitcase up the hill. I was like, Callum, God, I got to tell them the story. So we got in the Uber from the airport and I was like, I've seen this amazing place on Instagram, we're going to this place, Box Kitchen, let's go. Get there, it's closed.
Closed on Sundays?
Didn't check. So the taxi guy was like, do you want me to take you somewhere else? And I was like, no, it's fine, we'll figure it out. So we got out the car, then we realised how hilly Marbella is.
We didn't even know, because you were like, oh, it's about a half-hour walk. Why we didn't think to just get an...
I think it was a bit less than that.
Do you know what it was? It's because we couldn't check in until 3. So we had so much time to kill.
And it was like 11:30 at this point.
So we were like, well, let's just go and have a little bit of a stroll. And we did for a little bit, and then we were like, what are we going to do? No,
and then I was like, okay, there's another cafe that I've seen on social media that I really want to try. Let's go there. It's only 15 minutes away.
Yeah.
But 15 minutes is up this
15 minutes
massive hill. Callum's dragging a 20-kilogram case. We've both got our massive bags on our backs. We're like dripping in sweat. We turn up at this really posh cafe. Everyone's like dolled up, their hair's done. Everyone's looking like rich and sun-kissed. And we were just like, we're not going to get that in. Like,
we were literally stood across the road like going... Do we just change in the street? Like, do we change our clothes? What are we going to do? Like, I can't go in like this. And then we were like, do you know what? Screw it, we have to. We've just got to go because we can't just stand here and do nothing.
We were like, we're not going to get turned away. Let's just go and sit outside and just subtly blend in.
As soon as we walked over, though, to be fair, there was a few people who, not maybe quite as scruffy as us, but like were...
in like trackies,
and we clearly looked like we'd just arrived.
Yeah, of course.
Like, just come off the plane.
But then there was also obviously people that had come out for a lovely Sunday coffee, looking gorgeous. And I was like, oh my God, everyone is models here, we need to leave. But it was really nice.
It was fun,
and to be honest, since then, we feel like we fit in a bit more. We're in gym stuff all the time.
Yeah.
We've tried M13, which is the gym we've been going to.
Yeah, enjoyed that.
It's really cool. Again, another time that we were like, we can't go.
It just felt awful yesterday when we went to go train there for the first time. And we were like, oh, we're just not going to, we've spoken about this before, training at a new gym, not knowing anyone, not knowing any of the equipment, not knowing what to expect.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? Not knowing what to expect.
And we walked in and we were like, as soon as we started training, we were like, oh yeah, we know what we're doing.
What were we worried about? Also, there was like 4 people in there.
It was so quiet.
No, I wouldn't say anyone was friendly. No one's really smiled at us.
No, true. But then I wouldn't expect them to.
I don't really care.
We're walking around with our cameras out, like, they're probably like, oh God.
But we genuinely thought it would be like so busy. Yeah. Everyone would be looking at us, but it's been so nice.
So yeah, we'll do a few more sessions there, and then there's a couple of other gyms we want to try and train at.
Some cool like outdoor gyms.
Yeah,
it's been really good so far, and as I said, we've stuck to a really nice routine. So we're cooking dinners, we're cooking our lunches and stuff.
Yeah.
which is really nice. And then on the weekend, I think we're going to try a few restaurants, which will be nice.
Absolutely.
Feel a bit more like we're on holiday.
Yeah.
But it's definitely been needed. We were really struggling at home, and I think this has just been the boost that we needed already, and it's only day 2.
Yeah, I think just having that sun when you wake up, that routine.
But somewhere nice.
It kind of takes you out of the usual day-to-day routine, but you kind of build a new one.
I think it kind of sparks, for me anyway, it's really sparked, and I've seen it in you as well. It sparked your creativity.
So much more creativity.
Productivity as well, all of it. Like we're excited to start the day, and that's what we were missing. So it's done its job already on day 2, which is great.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
Really happy to be here.
Shall we get into the episode?
Yeah.
Let's go for it.
First, you just hear a quick message from us, and then we'll jump into a game.
Sounds good.
We just want to jump in here and say thank you to every single one of you who listens to the podcast or watches us on YouTube.
We hope our community continues to grow and we can inspire more people to start their own journey in the world of fitness.
All we ask is that you share this with someone who you think would enjoy listening to us chat each week.
And don't forget to drop in your own questions and gym stories to us on social media at That Gym Couple Pod so we can read them out loud each week.
Now then, back to the episode.
So I thought we'd play, not me on my own, that would be a bit weird. I thought we'd play a game that I feel like I invented myself, but based on another game. I don't think I've seen this anywhere else in these sort of...
Heard it here first.
This sort of context. So it's like Snog, Marry, Avoid.
Okay.
But it's train, program, and bin.
Okay.
So it's going to be exercises. It's going to be 3 exercises.
Yeah.
So you have to say which one you train once, which one you would...
What, you train it once and you'd never want to do it again?
Never do it again.
Okay.
So that's like the Snog. Which one you would program, which is like having your exercises regularly,
which one you're going to marry.
Like marry.
Yeah.
And then bin is avoid, obviously.
Got you.
So just get in the bin.
Right.
So...
Like it.
For you, we're going to go 3 leg exercises.
Perfect.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're going to do a Smith machine single leg step up.
Yeah, okay.
A RDL.
Just dumbbell RDL.
Because you said the other day that you were enjoying them now.
I do like them.
And your last one is going to be single leg extension.
Single leg.
No, single leg.
Leg press.
Leg press, sorry, yeah.
Oh, that's so tough. I love all of them. And they're all in my program.
Train, program, or bin.
Oh my God. Okay. I think train, single leg leg press.
Okay.
No, that's the one I want to bin actually. Sorry. Okay, right. Program.
Yeah.
Dumbbell RDLs.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Train, step ups, bin, single leg press.
Interesting.
And I love all of those exercises, but I think I'd rather do a normal leg press than a single leg.
Yeah.
And a dumbbell RDL, it's great.
Yeah. RDL in general, I think it's just a fun movement.
It's just a really good staple, really, isn't it?
Wow.
So are step-ups, though, to be fair. And the Smith machine ones, the glute pump.
you enjoy them, to be fair.
I do enjoy them, but they are hard work.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that would be mine. Is that okay?
That's good, yeah.
Okay, yours, I'm going to go upper body, I think.
Okay.
Okay, so we're going to do shoulder press, seated dumbbell shoulder press.
Yeah.
Bicep curl.
Okay.
Smith machine bench press.
Okay. So, train, bicep curl.
Okay.
Program, Smith bench.
Knew you'd say that, yep.
And bin, dumbbell shoulder press. Not because I don't think it's a great exercise, I think it's fantastic. My shoulders are just so shot, like it's just no point.
Yeah, fair.
Like, there's so much pain at the moment doing an overhead press, like it's just not worth it.
Bin it off.
So for me, just bin it off.
One more round?
One more round, yeah. Right, let's do upper body for you. Okay. we're going to do pull exercises.
Okay.
So, close grip lat pull down. Single arm high to low cable row.
Okay. One of my favourites.
Assisted pull up.
Oh, okay. Right, easy.
Is it?
Program, single arm high row, cable row.
Can I change the assisted pull up actually?
No, because you know my answer. Yeah, go on then.
So I'm going to change that to hammer curls. Because I know you like training your biceps.
Yeah, I do. Yeah, okay, so I would still program the high row.
Yeah, well, on the bench, everyone's favourite.
It's such a good one for the lats. That's like the one exercise I honestly attribute my lat growth to. Doing that consistently.
Help a lot. It's very much an isolation exercise.
It's just
feels
like
good.
Targets your lats so much if you get it right. Okay, yeah, so that I'd program that. Train bicep hammer curls.
Oh, okay.
And bin close grip lat pull down.
You're not a fan of lat pull down, really. You like
I like
it.
the neutral grip. I don't love close grip. I don't feel it as much.
Okay.
I do sometimes like doing it for variation.
I feel like close grip's nice sometimes because you can go just that little bit heavier.
I think I prefer the,
yeah,
what's
the one
the like this one rather
that's
than
close grip as well, I'd say.
Yeah, it's close grip, but what's the silver attachment called?
Just like a V handle.
Yeah. Don't like that one that much, but I like the one that you can grip underneath and pull down.
So it's like a reverse grip.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think that would be mine. That's hard though. Okay, upper body for you. No, sorry, lower body for you.
Okay.
Barbell squat. Barbell RDL. Leg extension.
I'm gonna go from a slightly different perspective on this then. As opposed to my last one, it was things like I felt comfortable doing. This would be like ultimate, like this is what
you should be doing.
Long term, what the better approach would be.
Yeah, okay.
Train RDL.
Yeah.
Program squats.
Yeah.
Bin off the leg extension.
Squats.
Just 'cause it's such an overall leg builder.
Yeah.
Like it just hits everything. It's
not
so
even just
good.
legs though, is it? It's like
glutes, like
cores engaged,
everything.
like yeah.
It just, and if you get that squat right and you just program them in perfectly and like everything's moving well, you don't feel horrible or your mobility is fine, all the things that mine isn't. It just feels so good to progress on squats.
Yeah.
Because it's such a good compound lift.
And you're right, it makes more sense to focus on something that's going to hit more muscle groups than like just leg extension, which will get your quads.
You want an overall leg developer squats.
Yeah.
You want to smash some strength and get that hip hinge movement. That's your RDL there.
Well, there you go. Someone asked Callum in his question box today, how do I get legs like yours?
Yeah.
There's your answer.
No, that's not your answer. The answer is...
play rugby from a young age.
No, the answer is join my online coaching. You'll find out yourself.
Nice little plug there.
Yeah.
Amazing. That's fun.
Yeah.
We thought we would talk a little bit about burnout, didn't we?
Yeah.
Because that is maybe not to the extreme of burnout, but it's kind of the reason why we're here in the first place.
It was definitely getting that to that point.
Yeah, it was very much so. Like, it was winter, obviously. It's winter generally, but at home in the UK, it's really dark, really cold, pouring with rain.
I literally can't even imagine it right now. That sounds so crazy.
I don't even want to think about going back.
I'm so sorry for everyone who's there.
Yeah, I am really sorry. But you know what? We just both were like, this is crap. And I feel like everything was just a bit negative, and even my work was becoming something that I wasn't enjoying anymore because it was all I focused on, because there's not much else going on, is there?
Well, you get into that routine, especially in the winter, that you wake up, it's dark, it's depressing, and then you go to work or you do your work and then you finish your work and you still, like, especially for you, you're not exactly going out and sitting outside in a coffee shop and, you don't really want to leave the house, but when you do, it's raining or just a bit miserable and grey and then it's dark by the time you finish working.
So you get home, shut the blinds, shut the curtains, and you just, whereas in the summer, it's sort of like, oh, should we go to the park after work and just throw a ball around? Like we used to go throw the rugby ball around, or like, let's go for a walk and do some steps, or, you know, this person's having a barbecue, let's go and do that. Even in the weekday, people just do more during the summer. And during winter, I just felt like work was just becoming every single thing I thought about, because I didn't have anything else to think about. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah. I'm really passionate about my work, but when that's not going as you would like it to, that's all you focus on. And I felt like I was getting into a really negative spiral. And to be honest, if I'm really honest, I just completely lost from my perspective, I said this to you, I feel like I completely lost my confidence before we got here.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think I'd done the same with my, you know, my life. I just wasn't in a particularly nice place. Like everything was just a little bit more effort than it should have been. Yeah. Mentally draining. And I appreciate that a lot of people are in the same boat and you know,
all going through something worse.
Previously, like in years before, I would have just got on with it and just been like, it's fine. Like summer's coming around the corner. But I think it's a lot easier when things are kind of going your way. But I guess I felt they weren't.
Yeah, and I also think that that's quite sad, isn't it? That we're getting into a habit of living our lives like, the weekend's nearly here. Like we did feel like we were living for the weekends. I've never really done that before, and I don't want to become that person. And
I think there comes that routine, doesn't it?
It's just a bit mundane, isn't it? But then also constantly saying, it's okay, spring is going to be here soon. It's okay, summer's going to be here soon. Like you're never actually enjoying the present because you're always wishing and hoping that time would go quicker so that it's a different time. But that's really sad because life does go so quickly. Yeah. So being here and waking up to the sunshine and it's 18 degrees and I'm enjoying now. I'm not like focused on the fact that spring's coming. I'm just enjoying right now.
And it's just, we deal with it. There's no stresses right now.
No. Well, and I'm excited to get up.
To work stress, but exactly, like getting you up in the mornings in the winter is impossible.
Yeah, I know.
It's impossible. Sometimes I'll be at work at like 6 in.the morning and like I'll get a text from Lucy at like 7ish. You know, 7:30 when your alarm goes off.
Don't call me out.
And then I'll respond, and then I'll get another one back at like 8:30.
It's really
and
difficult.
It's just you're like, oh sorry, I just went back to sleep. Just didn't want to get up.
Do you know what? When you work for yourself and you don't have someone saying you must be in at this time, you have to be so self-disciplined to get up at a certain time. And bear in mind, I might wake up at 8:30, but by 9 a.m. I am at my laptop because I don't have to go far. I don't have to put on a face of makeup. I can do it in my pajamas if I want. So I'm always up, but oh my God, it's like I have to drag myself out of bed. Here, I've been up before you. I've been like, right, come on, let's make a coffee, let's get up. I'm outside doing my check-ins. I live for it. I'm excited to chat to my clients. I'm excited to see how they're doing. And no, that shouldn't just be weather dependent. But what did you say to me earlier? Earlier, we were on the balcony.
Lucy is what I would call solar charged. So she has solar panels on her head or something, because I think when the sun's out, she just charges up, has all this energy. You were just like, just a little bit nuts.
Yeah, I was lying down just after my check-ins and I was like just taking a little break out on the balcony and Callum was like, should we get ready for the gym? And I was like, yeah, let's go, come on, let's go. Like I was just so excited. But yeah, I think maybe I should live somewhere in the sunshine.
Yeah. Can I come?
Of course you can.
Sweet.
Wouldn't want to be without you.
So what would you say you think burnout is? Because a lot of people now, this is something that someone messaged me the other day and they said this. They were like, well, a lot of people would have started the gym in January and now we are getting towards the end of February and people are at that point now where they've gone. People are starting to burn out from their new training programs, their new routines, their new, whatever it is, New Year's plans and all that. So what would you say burnout is to you in terms of spotting it when you're training?
Specifically training based?
Specifically, because I think it does overlap.
Oh, 100%. I think for me, I feel like burnout is when every part of your life is just too much to you just can't do it. And it's just, when I have what I think was burnout, I'm sure people have it at way worse effects than I had it. But when I felt that I had it, and I probably didn't realise till later down the line that was probably burnout, was just no motivation to train, in fact.
Yeah.
Callum's mic just flew across the table. Did that hit you in the foot? Is that painful?
Yeah.
Oh, come on, it's only a little mic. It's not that bad. I feel like it's kind of, you lose all kind of joy and excitement for things. So, you know, you're not excited to train anymore. You don't even really see the point of training anymore. That's just one part of it. Everyday stressors that probably wouldn't affect you that much day to day become massive deals. And for me, when I had it, I became very short-tempered and very impatient. And like I said, one small thing would make me like snap or make me cry or really anxious, and exhaustion, like super, super tired all the time. To be honest, like I wouldn't say I've ever been like actually clinically depressed, but I would say it's on the verge of that. I can imagine that's similar. Some of the symptoms might overlap a little bit.
I think they do say like it can build to that point, you know, it can build to chronic, it can build to very, very dark places, like chronic depression, it can build to suicidal thoughts, like it's awful, like it's a really, really bad thing. And if you can't spot it early on, I agree, I think it has its, it needs to have its focus in what a lot of people do, because a lot of people I don't think know how to spot it, or when you're in it, you don't understand it.
I agree, and I think that we live in a society where, well, I think we do, maybe not, I don't know about other generations.
The UK, I think the UK in a whole, like the work-life balance is awful.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like we feel guilty. Like if you have a sick day, oh my God, the guilt that you feel for having a sick day off work. So I don't think that we even think to ourselves, well, if I keep doing this at this rate and at this level, I might get burnt out. We just keep going and going and going until it hits a point where we physically can't do it anymore. Yeah. That is burnout. And then you're like,
and then you're having like a week off because you
maybe
can't,
longer.
You are physically sick.
Some people make themselves physically ill, like heart problems. Like someone I know really close to me, like due to stress, she has ended up in hospital. Because she thought she was having a heart attack.
I know people as well, people who have made themselves ill from it, and it's really, really bad. And if you kind of feel like it is a mental health problem, it's a mental sickness, burnout, I think.
I guess it's a physical one as well, though.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. It can turn into that, and it's very much your whole body's fatigued. You've got no motivation to do anything, especially training. Like when I had it in terms of training, I felt so drained every time, and I was like, the last thing I want to do is train right now. And you force yourself to do it, and then the next day you've got to do the same thing, and you're even more fatigued, and you can't be bothered. You're not recovering properly. The performance, your output's even worse, and these are all things that overlap with, say, your work life, your relationship life. Like it's the same. It works the same way, and I think when you look at people at this time of year, seasonal depression.
To be honest, we probably both had a bit of that.
Yeah, I think so. Seasonal depression, people are burning out. They've got to a point now where especially with their training, that they're kind of like, don't really know what I need to do next.
Yeah.
I've done 6 weeks, or I've done 8 weeks. What's the next part?
Yeah.
Where do I go from here? Who do I reach out to? How do I find out the information that I need to find out? And I think that's a massive area that a lot of fitness professionals are not necessarily missing in, but it's hard to find those people to help them. Yeah. Because unless they come to you.
Yeah, we don't have a crystal ball.
No, exactly.
We don't know. But I think as well, it might be getting to the point where you need to adjust your goals slightly. You know, maybe you've done really well in the past 6-7 weeks, or since New Year or whatever, or maybe you haven't done that well, and maybe there's a reason why, or something's not quite working, or everything you've been doing is working really well, but as you say, you're reaching a stage of burnout. Okay, so that probably suggests that what you're doing isn't that sustainable. So something does need to change. Adjust the goals, adjust the benchmark for what you're working towards, or maybe you do just need a break. Maybe you need to take a deload if it's training specific, or have a diet break.
Speaking of which, deloads. Well, I mean, we touched on this last week. Yeah, you did. You did a deload, you know, and I don't know if you want to touch on why, why you felt that was...
Yeah, I don't know if I touched on it a couple of weeks ago in the podcast, but it was exactly that, like what you just described. I just felt so exhausted. My recovery was terrible. And considering like the amount of food I've been eating for my bulk, my reverse diet, my recovery should be pretty good. But yeah, I just wasn't recovering. My DOMs were so bad. So every session I was going into was just, to be honest, painful because my DOMs were so bad, but I didn't want to miss a training day. So I was training whilst I had DOMs, which is never a good idea. Obviously, you're going to have a little bit of DOMs, but if you're not recovering, because I think, again, I might have mentioned it, but when we have those rest days, when we sleep, our muscles are growing back together, like the fibers that we've teared during training, because it's just, you make tiny microscopic tears in the muscle fibers when you weight train. So when you recover and you sleep and all of that, they grow back together stronger. If you're not recovering, you're literally not progressing because you're not giving your muscles a chance to rest and get stronger. So I wasn't progressing. I was probably holding a lot of water because I was stressed and tired and just all of it. Like I just wasn't enjoying training. And I said all of this to you and we just said, look, take a deload, have a break. And that's fine. And that's what I did. And you can take deloads in different ways. You can still train and kind of drop the weight back by 50% so that you're, not working as hard. Not working as hard, but you're just having a bit of a break.
There's a lot of different ways you can take a deload. But for you, it was just a case of, like, you were making yourself to the point where you were probably starting to actually get a bit sick, a bit ill, like you weren't feeling properly yourself.
I wasn't feeling myself, no. And I wasn't progressing in my training either. My strength wasn't going up.
So you ended up having a week off?
4 or 5 days. I didn't even take a full week. Like sometimes you can take a full week. You can take as long as you want, really. I mean, a week's probably enough, but I only really needed like 4 days. And then on that weekend, I felt rested, recovered. I had a really good leg session. I was excited to train. Nothing hurt when I did train. It just felt good. Yeah. And yeah, of course, I felt a little bit fluffy. I felt a little bit bloated because I hadn't trained, but I came back stronger. I came back way better. So yeah, that was very, very needed. That might lead us quite nicely into talking about diet breaks, I guess, because normally if you have been dieting for a while and you're in a fat loss phase, and like you say, you're getting to the point where you are really struggling to continue doing what you're doing, it might be that you need a deload, that we just talked about, or it might be that you need a diet break. Maybe you need a break from literally, that's what a diet break is. It is a break from being in a diet, in a calorie deficit. It's a psychological break from having to track calories every single day and be in a calorie deficit. It's a physical break because you get more food. Yeah,
and like I programmed one for one of my clients who's just sort of finished his weight loss sort of period. So at the end of that, it was a case. You can do it as a maybe it's a break for an extended period of time, which helps him. Obviously, that's probably more a mental help, because I think for a lot of people, if you've been in that mental state of dieting for a long period, it can be very draining on your mind, and obviously you'd start building up bad relationships with foods and stuff like that as well. So, but for my client's sake, it was more of a it was like a refeed meal. So I programmed one in, and I mean, it's also like a little bit of a reward, I guess, in that respect.
Yeah.
Like you've kind of got through to the end of this point, right? Have your rewards, eat your off-calorie meal, or have an off-calorie day, or however you want to do it, and but it is like a little mental sort of boost.
It's like a bit of a pick-me-up, isn't it? But
absolutely, yeah.
The way I would normally run a diet break for my clients, again, it depends on the individual, but if someone is really, really struggling, but we still have a lot of work to do, or we just have a few more weeks left in the fat loss phase, or a couple more months till we get to that end goal, what I typically do would say, right, for the next week, we're having a diet break, and I'd give them maybe between 200 and 300 extra calories for that week, so that they have, it's not what it is it's not an excuse to just go off plan and forget all about your goals and eat whatever the hell you want for a week. That's not what a diet break is. A diet break is a strategic calorie increase to give you that mental and physical break from being in a calorie deficit, replenish everything, feel recharged and, fueled up again. and then be ready to get back to it. So then after that diet break, you're like, right, I'm in the right frame of mind to get back to the calorie deficit and push on for the next, few weeks to get to the end of that fat loss phase.
Yeah.
And that's normally how I would do it.
Because you can lose some of that sensitivity to dieting. And the same with bulking. Like if you are constantly in a state of bulking, like in a calorie surplus, your body sort of loses that ability to really process that food that you're eating properly. Yeah. So to have, like, you could do it in that sort of sense as well. Like let's say you're in a bulk and you need a point where you're like your body's not reacting to the food the same way. You could increase the food. But for most people, that's quite hard to do. Like if you're already on a high amount of calories, to then increase the food with clean food is very difficult. The volume of food is a lot. So you could basically cut back down to maintenance or drop the calories by a little bit, get some of that sensitivity back in, and then go again.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what you would do with your clients, I guess, is you're not saying like, let's go into a point where you're eating in a calorie surplus.
No.
You're already in a deficit, so you're only
to maintenance.
You're only going back up to maintenance.
Yeah.
And so ideally, you're not going to put any weight on in that week.
No, and sometimes your scale weight does jump up, but we know it's water retention because your body's just like taking in a lot more food.
I gave my clients all a diet break over Christmas, and like they all shot up in
of course.
But then for the next few weeks afterwards, it was like drastic drops as that water weight came off.
And diet breaks are really good because, again, if you are getting to the point where you are really struggling to adhere to your calories and your macros and everything's kind of feeling like a really big struggle, I've seen it happen where you put a diet break in just at the right time and it sort of saves them. It saves you from going, I can't do this anymore, I give up, I throw in the towel, I don't want to have anything to do with it anymore. And then what ends up happening is you go overboard, undo all of your progress, and then you feel like you're starting from scratch again.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it avoids that. And there's kind of different strategies with it as well. With some of my clients, what's worked really well before is like a 3-1 ratio. So you diet for 3 weeks and then you have a diet break for a week. Then you diet for 3 weeks, you have a diet break for a week. For some clients that really, really struggle to adhere to a calorie deficit, that can be a good strategy because they know they only have to stick to it for 3 weeks, then they get a week diet break.
Yeah.
And then another 3 weeks. So it's kind of like a mental thing, knowing that they just have to work towards those little milestones.
Yeah. And
it might be a little bit slower, but
and that's all it is. It
can work quite well.
Little milestones that will help build habits, essentially.
Yeah.
It's just, I guess that my concern in that situation is that would they in that week off kind of hit that like, oh fuck it, I know it's a diet week this week, diet break this week, so I'm gonna hit that fuck it button, and I guess that does happen.
And if it does, then that strategy probably isn't right for you.
But at the same time, it probably happens with clients who don't have those diet breaks anyway. So
it probably might happen more often. If that's starting to happen every single weekend, you've got to start asking yourself, well, we've got to do something here because you're just undoing it every weekend.
Is it the program or is it me?
Well, yeah. But also, I think a lot of people just, even like people who have coaches, like my clients sometimes, I have to remind them, I don't have a crystal ball. I don't know if you're really, really struggling. Yeah. I'll reach out to you and ask if you're okay. Tell us if you're struggling. And if you say to me, I'm really struggling to adhere to my calories, I'm feeling this, and this, that's where your coach should come in and go, right, this is what we need to do. We need to take a deload. We need to have a diet break. There are things that you can do to make it easier. Yeah. Don't suffer and not ask for help.
No, exactly. I think that leads us quite nicely onto like generally talking about burnout and stuff like that, whether it's from your diet or from your training or however you want to see it. You could probably apply these to general aspects of life and stuff as well. How would you avoid them in the future? So I think to say you could avoid them in general is probably unlikely, because there will be times where you burn out and you don't notice the stress building up. I think that's the case of it most of the time. So we've already touched on a deload. That's always a good way. Just take some of that stress off you, let yourself recover, and then go back up. Adequate recovery time. Again, you could probably count that into the deload sort of period. But if you're looking at training, for instance, if you are training 7 days a week, your body's not going to recover.
No, you're overtraining.
And you're going to burn out. Like, it's only a matter of time. If you can keep it up for a certain amount of time. When I was younger, I was playing loads of sport, training, I was doing loads of things, but now I'm, in my 30s, I can't do them anymore. It's just not the same. And it just takes its toll on our bodies, and eventually it just hits us like a brick wall, and you just can't go any further. Number 3, I'd probably say would be like switching it up. So switch up your training, switch up your programming, switch up the way you're looking at things, switch up the foods you're eating. If you're constantly eating the same type of carbs, for instance, and you get to the point where you're like, oh, I can't do this anymore. If you're always having rice, switch it to pasta, have something different. As long as the macros are the same, or check with your coach or your dietitian, whoever you've got first, if that's okay. But for the most part, they're going to probably want to change things anyway. So that's always a good way, just looking at the whole program and just changing things if you have to. Switch up the location where you're working, for instance. I mean, look at us, that's exactly what we did.
Yeah.
Trying something new or revisiting something old, I think always helps as well.
Yeah.
So trying something new, it could be a new type of training, it could be a new way of training, it could be a new split, it could be things like that really help. Or if you've had something in the past that's worked that you aren't doing anymore, try doing that again, because if it's worked, it's worked. So why not give it a go? If it's not, if the way you're doing it isn't working now, you might as well try it the way it used to work. And then I guess finally would be like set new goals. So it might be that you've got to a point where your current goals are limiting your progress. So if you're able to set new goals and kind of see that next step where you're going, you might be able to sort of get out of that slump, I guess, a little bit better.
Yeah.
You got any more you might want to add or anything?
No, I think you summed it up quite nicely. Maybe you could try training with someone.
Yeah.
That might mix things up.
Yeah.
But I do think change of scenery is massive as well. Not always, that's not always going to cure it, but it has been a really big boost for us, just training somewhere else, somewhere that motivates you.
Exactly, like somewhere that we've gone to different gyms, like locally, or we've gone like our little display's gone.
Where's the control?
It's on the, God, this is a...
disaster.
This is a funny episode, this one. If you could see all the stuff that's happening behind the scenes. Yeah, like we've gone to other gyms locally before, just for a day pass, just to try it out and just get a different vibe.
Yeah.
And then actually most of the time we hate it. Let's go back to our normal place. And you kind of feel like you respect the places that you like more then. Yeah.
I think, and like you said, just maybe even setting new goals or just reminding yourself of your goals and why it's important to you. We've said this so many times, like having your reason why you're doing this. If you lose sight of why you're even doing this in the first place, it's going to be really hard to keep going and to tick off all the boxes every day. Remind yourself, even though it's difficult, there's a reason you're doing it, to get to where you want to get to, and you're not going to get there if you just give up. So get in line with your goals, and if those goals have changed, set new ones.
I guess you can fine-tune them as well if you feel like something's slightly out of reach now. You don't have to necessarily change your goals entirely. You could just alter them so it's more achievable or more likely to be achievable, however you want to see it, really. But yeah, I think that's a nice little spot to go on to the next sort of thing.
Did you have any listeners' messages this week?
Yeah, I had one actually. Let me just grab it.
Sun's going down.
The sun is going down. It's quite sad. We were going to have some dinner out on the balcony, but... how do you know what you're eating is in your calories while you're away?
Good question.
I guess like if you're on holiday, like we are, this is someone's sent this into my stories, the Q&A yesterday. So, yeah, I guess like if you're abroad, like in the UK, obviously, the calories are all printed on the menus now. So things like that can help. Are they not here? I've not seen it.
No, I haven't, that's true. To be honest, truthfully, guesstimate.
Yeah, I mean,
like
100%.
if you are, firstly, if you're on holiday and you're tracking your calories and macros, fair play to you. That's amazing. That's really great.
Yeah. It's not always possible though.
No, it's not always possible, and that's why you have to just kind of use your common sense a little bit. Like if you're eating similar meals to what you'd have at home, you can either try and track it and just guess, or you can go more down the intuitive approach, knowing. Like, for example, for lunch today, we'll talk about what we had. So for breakfast today, we had a bagel, avocado, poached eggs, and smoked salmon. Similar to what we'd have at home, or what I'd have at home. Yeah. I know roughly how much that bagel is going to be. I know roughly that we had probably 40 grams of avocados. We can split the salmon in half, so we know what that is. And we had 2 eggs. That's actually quite easy to track. Yeah. Lunch. We know roughly how to weigh out rice, even though we don't have any scales.
That's it. I think lunch was a little bit more difficult because in that respect, we were looking at, we were guessing.
We were eyeballing it, yeah.
How much rice. But I think from doing it consistently, I mean, you weighed out the rice, you were able to know roughly how much rice was in there.
Yeah.
The rest of it was veg and not fruit.
Yeah, salad and
tomatoes are fruit.
Chicken.
But yeah, so that was all kind of quite
we're being more intuitive,
easy to do, aren't we? More intuitive, but what I would say is if you are in a calorie deficit, or you're trying to lose weight while you are on holiday or abroad or wherever it is that you aren't able to track properly, just maybe if it looks like too much, or it probably is.
Yeah.
And if it's the opposite and you're trying to, in your reverse diet, maybe just add that little bit extra just to make sure. Yeah.
Or like maybe order extra protein on the side.
Yeah. I mean, that's if you're somewhere where you're eating out. But if you're cooking your own, if you're weighing the rice out and you're in a calorie deficit, weighing it, putting it in a pan, and you haven't got scales, maybe just eyeball it, but under eyeball it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
You're better off eating less than you are eating over.
I think also you're better off trying your best and maybe not being spot on than just not bothering at all.
Absolutely.
Like you will be close enough. You probably won't be spot on, but that's not the end of the world. You don't have to be spot on all the time. Just be aware, be intuitive, be conscious of your choices and use your common sense. As you say, if you're going out to eat and you order a dirty burger and loaded fries, you're going to be over your calories. Yeah. But that's fine every now and then. That's all right. Yeah. So if you're really passionate about eating something better, choose a better option on the menu. And no, it doesn't have to be the chicken Caesar salad. Just pick something, maybe chicken with your rice and your veg. I don't know what it is, but just be aware of the choices that you make and do your best to get out. And if there's a gym, go train. If you can go for a run, go for a run. If you can do steps, keep your activity up. It will all balance out in the end, I'd say, but don't stress yourself out about it, because what I always say to my clients is, how do you want to look back on that trip? Because ultimately, yes, we want to stay on track with your goals, but do you want to look back and be like, God, I ruined that trip. I didn't enjoy a second of it because all I did was stress about calories and macros and how many steps I'd done and this and that. And me and my partner argued because that was all I was worried about. I didn't even enjoy the break. Or do you want to be like, do you know what? I did my best. I had a really good time.
Exactly.
So you've got to decide what's more important to you, I think.
Brilliant. Yeah.
Yeah.
Good.
Sorry, rambling on.
The other one I had was, what supplements do you use?
Oh, good question.
So, without going into brands, because unless they want to pay me
otherwise it's free marketing.
It's free marketing, exactly. To be honest, I typically just use maybe 2 or 3 supplements. Mm-hmm. So I do have whey protein, don't have any with me, but I do have whey protein that I try my best to have. I'm terrible at drinking protein.
To be fair though, we're quite good at getting our protein in without supplements.
Very true.
Yours is obviously higher, so it's a little bit harder.
It's there for me if I feel like I'm lacking on a certain day, or I should take creatine. I should add that back into my diet. Everyone should take creatine, to be honest.
I take creatine.
You take your creatine. You're very good.
Don't have it with me right now either though. Didn't have the luggage space for it.
No, exactly. And then I just take a pre-workout and a pump, which is like a non-stim pre-workout, basically.
Just makes him look huge.
Yeah, feel good.
Yeah.
Feel good after you've taken that.
Yeah, obviously supplements are not required at all. Like you need to make sure you have a very healthy balanced diet before you start adding in supplements. Like, they should not replace anything.
No.
But they can be a good aid.
They are to supplement.
Yeah, they are supplementation for things that you feel like you are lacking.
Yeah.
So whey protein powder is great. If you are someone who really struggles to hit your protein target just on food, I don't struggle at all. Add in some whey. Like, if you get to the end of the day and you're like, oh my God, I've got 20 grams of protein left.
Perfect.
1 scoop of whey, 20 grams, sorted. So yeah, I will sometimes supplement that in, but not so much because, as I said, I'm quite good at getting it in without that. But I do take creatine, especially now I am reverse dieting. So I take 1 scoop of creatine a day at any point in the day, whenever I remember, to be honest. Pre-workout, all my supplements, I will name them because I am a sponsored athlete with EHP Labs. So all my supplements are from there. So I use the Pride pre-workout. Shouldn't rely on it, but I probably do.
Nah, you're okay. You do.
Probably more of a placebo, like it's a mental thing, just having a bit of a scoop of pre-workout. Is there anything else I have? Sometimes my Oxy Greens from EHP Labs, they're just like a super green powder, basically, that's really good for loads of different things. I will have that some mornings. Sometimes BCAAs, but to be honest, creatine's probably the only staple for me, and pre-workout.
I forgot, I also have a hydration formula I use during the day, which just, again, helps me just stay hydrated. It's just vitamins and stuff, really, but I find that really helps me. Yeah. Sometimes when I'm flagging a little bit and like I'll drink it and I'll be like, oh God, like it's almost like a natural boost of energy.
Do you know what's been quite bad as well? Like, obviously we were talking about seasonal depression.
Yeah.
I haven't been taking any of my vitamins.
Yeah.
And that's terrible, but you know, they do say you should really be taking them, especially through the winter.
Yeah. It's funny, isn't it? We always do those sort of things in the summer.
Yeah, I know, because we're just like on a health. Yeah.
But yeah, that's it, I guess, from us. In terms of what supplements here and listener questions and the podcast.
In the episode,
So yeah.
Thanks for listening. Hope you enjoyed the Marbella edition.
Yeah, episode 2 next week and...
Well, Marbella edition.
Yeah, episode 2 of the Marbella edition.
Yeah.
It'll be episode 15, I think.
God. Yeah, as always, let us know if you have any questions, any gym stories, anything you want to share with us. Maybe we'll have more to update you on next week of our travels. Peace.
Peace.